Hi everyone, it's Patty Cisco. I've been asked by several people to show them how I make my really fancy ornament wreaths. And so I'm going to attempt to do that. Keep in mind that this isn't as professional as a lot of them are, and I'm not showing you my face because I look like an old hag with no makeup on and all of that, so that's not what you want to see anyhow. This is my little work table, and this is where I make all my stuff. So here are the things that you're going to need. Now let me tell you, first of all, this type of wreath is going to cost you a lot more than the flower wreaths, grapevine wreaths, the burlap wreaths, blah blah blah, because of the supplies. And so unless you want to make it as a really nice gift for somebody, if you make them to sell, be sure to include all of the materials that you use plus the amount of labor, because this takes more labor and patience. You have to have a lot of patience to complete, but it's worth it in the long run if you really like to do this sort of thing, and I do. This is my favorite one to make. So with those warnings ahead, I'm telling you that anybody can do it. The fun in it is the design that you want to do. So today we're going to make a winter wreath. It's going to have kind of a French blue, white, some clear bulbs because I want to reflect the ice theme, and silver. This is one of the most popular wreaths that I sell. And these are all of the elements. Now there are several sizes of ornaments that you can buy. As you can see, there's like 5 different sizes here. These really big ones I don't often use. I did on the last one that I made, and there's no reason why you couldn't. I don't use them as much, and the sizes all vary. Sometimes they tell you by inches how big they are, sometimes they tell you by millimeters. So if you ever want to know exactly what you need to get, then you might, you can message me. But most of the time I just eyeball it. So I've got all of those colors in various sizes. You're going to use a glue gun and a bunch of glue, a whole bunch of glue. I've got these little embellishments, stems. You can buy these like at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or probably even online. These are real popular, and you cut the little pieces off, so you don't need a whole lot. And then you might need a pair of pliers, you might need a pair of scissors, I'm not sure. And then I use a lot of these little styrofoam glitter balls. They're used to fill vases, and they come in all different sizes. And I'll be using these in white and silver because those are the colors I have. I don't have blue. And then I'll also be using this really pretty ribbon. I'm going to put a big bow on it with this ribbon. I love this ribbon, and I think it'll enhance it tremendously. And you can make these any way you want to. You can make them just with the balls only, or you can put a ribbon on, a big bow on it, or you can put the little floral stems on it to make it look more like a grapevine wreath or something like that. So, you know, you can put all kinds of stuff on them, and that's just up to you. You can put a big letter initial on them and whatever. Now, the ornaments. The cheapest way that I've gotten these ornaments is on eBay. And when you order them on eBay, you gotta wait like 2 or 3 months to get them because they're coming from China. In fact, I guess all of the ornaments that we get come from China. But the cheapest ones that I've bought have been on eBay. Your colors are a little more limited sometimes on eBay. But also, like Hobby Lobby, this is July, and they already have Christmas ornaments in every color you can imagine out for sale. I also go to Michael's, I go to Walmart, I go to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, you can order like a case of different sizes of ornaments for like $36, and it's huge. The colors are limited. They're Christmas colors. I buy a lot of silver because some of the ornaments that I use, I paint. I spray paint them. And silver is the best base for that. I think I've mentioned all the places you can get them, but even Amazon, I mean, there are tons and tons of places that you can get them for cheaper than just going to some place like Michael's. So, I think that's about all you're going to need to get started. So I'm going to start with the very first step, which is to make a base. I use a styrofoam form, and you can use any form. This one's pretty big, but you can use any form depending on the size of the wreath. Because you're going to figure that by the time you put your ornaments on, it's going to be that much bigger. So I'm going to make a base of ornaments all around the outside and all around the inside. The reason that's really important is because it's a secure place to attach all the rest of the ornaments that you use. So if you use like a wireframe or something like that, and you just glue them on there, if it gets really hot, that glue can soften up and your ornaments are going to get loose. So I secure as many of them as I can by actually putting a hole in the styrofoam, and you can either do it with the tip of your glue gun or with a pair of scissors. A lot of people don't like to use the glue gun on styrofoam because it melts it, and they don't like the fumes. So I use it, but you don't have to do it. You can also use a pair of scissors. And you're going to make, on the outside here, you're going to make a hole that's big enough for the base of that ornament, and then you're going to fill it with glue. And it looks like my glue gun isn't plugged in, which is great. So you can either take this thing off, the little holder off, or you can leave it in there and make a bigger hole to have more of an attachment. But as you can see, that's not going to go down in there if I leave that on. So that's how it's going to go in. You'll almost screw it in, and it'll have glue in there, so it's going to stay forever. Okay, I'm going to stop for just a minute and make sure my glue gun is plugged in, and then we'll get started again. Okay, we're back. While I was waiting, I pulled these holders off here. That's easy to do. I mean, sometimes you can just pull it off with your fingers, but I just pulled them off with this little set of pliers. And these are the ones I'm going to use for my base. They were actually all in a big container that I bought at Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to alternate whites and clears and blues. So I've got a white here. I'm going to put a blue here. I'm going to make a little indentation so I know where to make the hole. I'm going to fill my hole with glue. Put the ball in there, kind of screw it in. Now, if you want to make it extra secure, you can put a little bit of glue between the first ball and the next one. you don't worry too much about how this looks, because all of this is going to be covered up, believe it or not. You won't see very much of it. It's just kind of a base. All right, then I'm going to put a clear one next. Do the same thing. See me putting the glue in there. Now you're going to have glue webs everywhere. I usually kind of pick them off as I go, but I also, at the very end, I don't know if you know this or not, but you can turn a hairdryer on hot and go all the way over, and those webs will just kind of melt down. If you get these out of order, like I said, it doesn't really matter, because you're not going to see much of them anyway. Like I said, you use a bunch of glue. And I do use Gorilla Glue sticks. I order them on Amazon because I've tried several kinds, and they hold a lot better than any of the other ones I've used. But I guarantee you, when you make this, it's going to last for years. In fact, you'll be sick of it and want to give it to somebody else. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point. I'm going to go ahead and do the inside and the outside, and then I'll pick up the video at the next step. Okay, I'm back. As you see, I got the inside and the outside done. And see how sturdy this is? It takes a lot to get one of these to come unglued. Now, you can drop them and break them. They're plastic. And that happens sometimes, but they're not going to come unglued. So, I got a real strong, solid base. I realized as I was going through that I didn't have any silver in here, so I got some silver ones and started putting those in too. So now I'm going to put, and you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put the same size bulbs all the way around. On this particular wreath, I have, I'm not going to do it today, but I have put the clear ones all the way around, and then threaded those little twinkle lights inside of them, and that really has been pretty, but I'm not going to do that today. So you're going to attach these the same way by putting in a hole and then putting in some glue. So I've already made a hole here. And I try to vary up the patterns and the colors, but you're going to have so many colors and patterns on here, it's not going to really make a huge difference. Now these, if you glue them together, you're more likely to see the glue. So sometimes I don't. Let's see. Like I said, I forgot the silver before, so I already had a lot of silver, so these don't stay as stable. You have to mess with them sometimes. And once they dry, they are, but see, that one's not really close enough to glue to the one next to it, so I won't do that. Let's see. I kind of look at them to determine what I should put on here next. Putting a little dab in between just to stabilize it even more. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around the top. I won't bore you with doing every single one, and then I'll be back. Well, my little pen's not working, so here we go. Okay, I'm back. I've got all this done around here, and what I do is I graduate the sizes. So I'm done with this size. I used 56 of this size bulbs, and now I'm going to the next size, which is about that size. And the reason they're falling off is because I just laid them on there. But and I'm sorry I keep doing that. My allergies are awful. Now I kind of lay them out there to see what they're going to look like. And you can see that I kind of did a zigzag with these blue bulbs. Because that was all I had. Now I don't have any silver that size. I do have some whites that are a little bit smaller. But what I'm going to do is glue these. Now these are not going to be buried in the styrofoam, so you glue them to every surface so that they'll, see, these aren't going anywhere. So you want to glue them to every surface, and they're going to be fine after you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the blue ones. Then I've got some white ones that are just a little bit smaller than the blue, and I'm going to fill in the other spaces with those. And then I will go to a smaller size. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue there, a little dab of glue there, a little dab of glue there. Not a big glob, just a little bit. You can take these out if you want to. I usually do. Especially when I'm using clear like I am here, because you can see it. So, a little bit there, a little bit there, and a tiny bit there. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around this zigzag doing these blue ones, and then I'm going to fill in the other little gaps here with the white ones. I've got a few silver too. I'll use those too. Now, I wanted to say one thing that I neglected to say before. When you're doing your base, you may come up with a gap, like you've got a little bit of a gap right here at the end where something doesn't fit. And I had a gap. I had a pretty big gap, so I had to kind of fit one in here. This one isn't glued to the base, and this one has a little bit of a gap. So that's where I'll put my ribbon. You can fill the gap in quite a bit, but since I have a little bit of a gap there, that's where I'm going to put my ribbon. So I will go around with the next size blue and white and a little bit of silver, and then I will come back. Okay, so I've got my next size bulbs glued on, and it already looks very pretty, doesn't it? I used about 36 of the next size. I've got this size and this size. This is the next to the largest one that I used. And then this size. I wish I could tell you the exact sizes, but if you really want to make one and you message me, I'll give you some advice on what sizes to order or buy. So what I did is I just did kind of a zigzag pattern with the blue, and then I went back with the silver and white and did the same thing. And then if I had any significant gaps anywhere, I stuck another one in there, like right here. There were some pretty big gaps there, so I used about 36 in all. The next ones are the very smallest ones that you can use. I've got them in white and silver, and I had some silver ones that I spray painted so that I'd have some blue ones. They've got some glitter on them. I put some glitter on them afterward. Now you'll notice they're not totally spray painted, and I have a little method that I use for that, but I won't bore you with that right now. So I'm going to fill in as much as I can with these where I have other gaps, and then we will go on to putting in the stems and the bow, and then finally the little bitty foam balls. They fill in everything and really make it stand out. So I'm going to fill in with the little ones and then show you how to put the stems in. Okay, I've already put my bow on here, and I'm not going to do a bow tutorial because there are a million of them on YouTube, but isn't that pretty? I just love that pattern, and when I get my stems in here, it's really going to blend well. So I've got the little ones scattered here and there. I may end up putting some more in there. I saved a few, but we'll see. And I ended up using the little ones. They come in various containers, but this is one, and I don't know how many are in there exactly, but you can see there are quite a few. And I've used almost 3 of white, silver, and blue. So that's a bunch. Now my stems, I've cut those up. And the way I do that is I'll take each of these branches, and I have 7 altogether of the little branches, and I've cut them up into like 2 to 3 pieces. You don't want them all to be the same size, you know, they need to be different. So like this, first I'll cut this big piece off, and I do this with floral cutters. And then you can cut right through that crystal. It feels weird, but you can do it. And so I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces. This one's pretty long, so I'm going to cut it into 3. And like I said, there's no set size. And then I will just start putting them in. A lot of people that do crafts a lot, they have a little pot that they melt glue in, and then they just dip it in that pot and stick it where they want to. I don't do that. I haven't bought one. So I just put a little dab of glue on there, and I'll put them in where I see a gap, and I try to do them like stagger them, like I did the big balls, just once around, and then I'll go back and put more in there, because I've got quite a few. So I'll put one on the outside. Be sure and get them in there good. And of course, you got little crystals falling around everywhere. Let's see this one. So you just go around, just kind of give it the eyeball, and you know, where it looks like it'll do good, stick it in there and be secure. Go ahead and put it in there. And I'll probably go around this thing, you know, 3 times before I'm done, because I don't want to run out. Because I'm not going to go to Hobby Lobby today and buy me some more. Not going to happen. I don't know about y'all, but I stay inside as much as I can. That's why I keep making these things. There's a big old gap there. Now the reason I put my bow on is because obviously it covers a lot of territory. So you don't want to put these in and then put your bow on if you're planning to do a bow, because you're going to stick up and your bow won't fit. Now, as I'm going around, I found a little place right here and a place right there that could probably use another small ball. So I'm going to fix those while I'm at it. And I was going to say previously, when you put these little ones on, try to have them touch at least 3 surfaces. 4 is even better. This one touches 4, because the more places you can glue, the more secure it's going to be. Put one there. There's really no set space. You start out trying to be real organized, and then you just start throwing them everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to shut this off and go ahead and put all my stems in. And then we're ready for the last step. Okay, I've put my stems on, and I even found some little silver, woodsy looking silver stems, berries. And since the bow has berries on it, I decided to put those in there too. Now, some people may think it's just too much, and I certainly understand that. That's why I said you can do whatever you want to do. You can do no stems at all. Now, the next step that I'm going to take, you can, on this one, you could actually omit it, because what you're doing is you're hiding the base. You don't want to see the base. But since this has to do with snow and ice, your base is white, so you could just leave it like it is and not do this next step. The next step is, it's to me, the most tedious of all, because you're taking these little tiny balls, the styrofoam balls, and you're placing them in any of the gaps that you have. So it takes a long time to get them all in there, and some people just hate doing that. But on this one, I think you could very easily skip that step, because you've got a white base, and that's fine. If you were doing something for autumn or Christmas red and green or whatever, you might not, you might want to skip that. So these are kind of tricky. You put just a little dab of glue on them and just hook them on anything you can hook them on, like I'm doing here. And they're going to come off. So, but there are so many of them on there that it doesn't really matter if a few of them fall off. It's no big deal. So this is the next step, and it does take a long time. These balls come in various shapes and sizes, so you can even fill up little tiny gaps. You've got bigger ones like this, and you've got little ones like this. So if you want to go to that extreme of, you know, the little ones everywhere, it's all up to what you want and why you're doing it. If you're doing it for yourself, or if you're doing it for a gift for someone that you really care about, then, you know, why not go all the way? Do everything you can on there. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to fill it all in as much as I can, and then you will see the final product. Okay, so here's your final product. I've got a little bit more tweaking to do, but it's basically done. You'll notice that the little balls, styrofoam balls, I kind of cluster them together and keep them in kind of the same color scheme as whatever's near. I didn't have any blue ones. But like I said, you don't even have to put those on. If you like the stems to stick out a little bit more, then, you know, leave them off. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, if you're like, no way, no day am I doing that, but you really would like to buy one, I am on Etsy at PK's Possibilities. Capital P, capital K, small s, capital P, Possibilities. And I also have a Facebook page, but my sale page is on Etsy. And I would love to make you one. Stay safe, everybody.